So, it's 2025. Do you have the right credit card in your wallet, or do you not even own one? Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 credit cards that you can use for your personal use. Whether it's going out to buy some groceries, buying your favorite video game, all of these will be useful in order to not just get your purchase, but also get some cash back, get some points, or some sweet benefits. So, let's dive right into some credit cards today that might be right for you. Now, before we dive in, just a quick reminder, this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered financial advice. Our full disclaimer is shown here and on our website. I would like to preface that we are not going to be reviewing any of the American Express cards, and the reason for that is because American Express cards usually are not great for everyday purchases. Usually these are great for like traveling, so usually you get some juicy points when you travel, but for everyday purchases like going out to get some gas for your car, probably not a good idea. So that's why we will not be including any of the American Express cards in our top 10 tier list. So let's dive right into our first card. So who made it to the bottom of our barrel? So coming in 10th place is actually going to be the Chase Freedom Flex credit card. So why did this one make it to the bottom of the barrel? The reason for that is because of the types of categories that it has. So essentially there's not only does it have like rotating categories every 3 months, but it's also not consistent categories that you actually spend on everyday use. So because of how variable it is in nature, I've decided to put this puppy in number 10. So now let's look at actually the benefits of using this card. So if you actually do decide to actually get this card, the first thing that you should be on the lookout for is that you will be able to get $200 in cash back as long as you spend $500 within the first 3 months. The next thing that you should probably be on the lookout for is that even though it has rotating categories, if you can take advantage of them, you will actually get up to 5% cash back on these rotating categories every 3 months. So there is a cap though, it's only $1,500 that you can get cash back on, but it's still a good amount of money as long as you can actually hit these rotating categories. The next thing is there is no annual fee. So a lot of the cards on here that I'm going to be talking about have $0 annual fee because it's important to penny pinch whenever you can when you have a credit card. So having no annual fee does give you more bang for your buck. So the next thing is, the great thing about this credit card, I will say, is that the cashback can be redeemed for straight cash. A lot of the cashback cards out there tend to only give you statement credits and not actual cash. Sometimes you do want to actually have actual cash because, hey, there's things that happen. Maybe your car breaks down, things like that. You actually want actual cash on hand. You don't want a credit sometimes. The other thing is that if you do sign up for this card, it does have a 0% intro APR or interest, and this is for all purchases and balance transfers. So you'll have 15 months to effectively pay no interest, and you'll be able to actually go out and buy your favorite TV or whatever you want. So now let's move on to our 9th place card. So now coming in at number 9 will be the Discover It Cashback Credit Card. Now, this credit card is actually pretty unique where it's one of the only credit cards that actually gives you double cash at the end of the year. Now, this is a great deal. This is the only credit card that I've ever seen that does this kind of thing. So it's actually one of the reasons why I've decided to include it right here on the tier list. Now, the only downside about it is that it goes back to kind of the thing that I didn't like about the other credit card, which was that it has rotating categories. So essentially there's a 5% cash back on rotating categories, and it's changed every 3 months as well. But on top of that, the 5% cash back is capped at a certain limit. So after a certain amount of spend, you will not be able to get 5% cash back. You'll only be getting 1% cash back. So that's kind of the drawback of this card. So overall, it does kind of limit the cashback power you'll be able to get. But if you do manage to maximize the heck out of it, you can definitely get 2x cash at the end of the year. So the other great thing about this card is that it has no annual fee, and also it has 0% interest on any balance transfers and purchases for the first 15 months. And on top of that, it does have a 3% balance transfer fee, but compared to other cards, it's not too bad. So overall, this puppy ranks at number 9. So now, coming in at number 8, we have the Venture Rewards from Capital One. So, just to let everyone know, this is actually a travel card. So this one actually is very heavily focused on travel. So it's not really for everyday purchases, but it's really incredible for travel. So let's actually dive into some of the benefits that this card provides to everyone. So the first thing is it actually has 75,000 bonus points, which is the equivalent of $750 when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. So the other aspects that make it a great card is that you also actually get unlimited 2x miles on everyday purchases. So usually miles, those are equivalent to points that you can use on anything that you would like to do. Next, if we actually scroll down a little bit, we can actually see you also get 5x miles on hotels, car rentals, but it's very particular that you have to use the Capital One store on these purchases. So make sure you actually book your stuff through Capital One, or you actually be tied back to the 2% that we just talked about, or the 2x. So what's other benefits of this card? The other benefit of this card is that it has no foreign transaction fees. So usually foreign transaction fees can range between 2 to 3% depending on the type of card you use. So having a 0% foreign transaction fee is great for travel. I will say though, this does have a $95 annual fee, but overall, even though it does have that, it does give a lot of really great rewards overall. And just, getting the 75,000 bonus miles effectively pays for itself in terms of the annual fee. Alrighty, so let's move on to lucky number 7. So right now we're going to be looking at the Saver Rewards from Capital One. This one actually is a very popular card overall, and the reason for that is because of the 3 kinds of categories that it gives cash back in. So the first thing is you actually get $200 cash back as long as you spend $500 at within the first 3 months, which is very common in the credit card industry. As long as you spend usually within the first 3 to 6 months, that's how you get your cash back. So now let's look at the different types of cashback categories that you have on this card. The first thing is you actually get 5% cash back as long as you book hotels and rental cars on the Capital One portal. So this is very important. You have to make sure it's on the Capital One portal. The next thing is you do get 3% cash back on your groceries, on dining, and entertainment, which are 3 very popular categories across the industry. And then finally, if none of those actually call out to you, you still get 1% cash back on all other things, whether it's like gas, video games, whatever you want to use your card on. 1% is your home for that. The reason that I rank this card like this is because of the limited categories where you can actually get the cash back on. But overall, if you have this in your wallet and you're out in the grocery store and that's your main use for this card, I would say. And of course dining and things like that, but other than that, it doesn't have a lot of flexibility in terms of where you can get your cash back. So that's all I'm going to say on this one. So now let's look at who made it to rank 6. So the card that made it to rank 6 is the City Strata Premier card. So this one is actually another great travel card. Compared to the last travel card we actually looked at, this one has a lot more rewards than the last one that we looked at. So the first thing I want to say is that you get a whopping 75,000 bonus points, which is the equivalent of $750, as long as you spend $4,000 within the first 3 months. So that's, pretty great bonus overall, 750 points, $750. And the next thing is how do you actually earn points on this card? The first thing is you actually get 10 points per dollar as long as you actually use the citytravel.com portal. And the one thing that I do want to mention is that these cards are going to tend to want you to use their portal versus anything else. So make sure you actually start using their portal if you want to maximize the cash back you get on these cards. The next thing is you actually get 3 points per $1 spent on air travel and other hotel packages outside of the city portal, of course. You also get 3 points at restaurants and supermarkets, 3 points on gas and EV charge stations, and then 1 point on everything else. Now these points, just think of each point as 1 cent. So every point that you get is 1 cent towards your cashback goals. Now, another great benefit of this card is that you actually get $100 hotel credit off of a $500 stay. So essentially you have to spend $500 and you'll get $100 annually on any hotel stay. Now, I will preface that this is a one-time credit, so make sure you use it wisely. The other great thing about this card is that it does have travel protection benefits. So if you rent a car, for example, you can effectively have insurance on that car, and you'll have no foreign transaction fees. So similar to the last card. Now, the annual fee is very similar as well, $95. So overall, this card is very similar to the last one, except you get a lot more rewards and a lot more access to get points. So that's all we'll say on this one until we move on to the next one. Alrighty, so now let's look at the fifth best card out there for personal use. So the fifth best to me is the Quicksilver from Capital One. So the great thing about this card is that you same as the other cards, you get $200 cash back bonus as long as you spend $500 within the first 3 months. You also get unlimited 1.5% cash back on all purchases across any category. So there's no guessing game of like, hey, like where do I need to spend it? Just spend it on anything, you get 1.5% cash back. The other great thing about this card is that there is no foreign transaction fees. So sometimes people tend to use this card as a travel card too, but it's also great for everyday purchases as well. Another great thing is there is no annual fee on this card, 0. And finally, you can also get 0% interest on any balance transfers and purchases. Now, one thing I will want to preface about most of these Capital One cards that are different from the other cards we've actually talked about is that in most cases, you can't actually get the cash back seamlessly. You actually have to use it as a statement credit first. And then if you want hard cash, you actually have to have a statement credit of 0 and then use your credit. So essentially, it's kind of like a two-step process if you want hard cash back. But if not, it's all statement credits for most of the Capital One cards that I've mentioned so far.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and I'm the host of the Log Sanctuary. I hope you've been enjoying our content so far, and if you have, please feel free to like and subscribe. Also, we have our website up here, and we also have some socials down here. And as always, leave your comments down below.
Let's move on to the fourth best card here on this list. So the fourth best card is the Trace Freedom Unlimited Credit Card. So this credit card actually is relatively new to the Chase marketplace, and it wasn't around for a long time. So it's relatively new in the sense of like, it's probably been around like maybe 4 or 5 years compared to most of the other credit cards that Chase has on their accounts. So what are the great benefits of this card? The first thing is you actually get $200 bonus, You get $200 bonus dollars if you spend $500 in the first 3 months. The next thing is there's actually 3 types of categories you get cash back. The first thing is you get 5% on all travel as long as you purchase it through the Chase portal. So you have to purchase it through the Chase portal if you want to get the best benefits. The other thing is you actually get 3% on dining and drugstores. And finally, the best part is if none of those categories work for you, you can actually get still 1.5% cash back on every other purchase. So essentially, you will be getting a minimum of 1.5% cash back on everything. So that's overall a great benefit. It makes the guessing games a little bit easier as well. And the other great thing is that it has 0% annual fee, and you also get a 0% intro interest or APR on all purchases and balance transfers for the first 15 months. So overall, a really solid card, and that's why it's on the rank. It's our rank 4. Now let's look at number 3. So number 3 on our list is actually the Chase Sapphire Reserve Credit Card. Now, I will say though, in my eyes, this is actually the number 1 travel credit card out there. And I'll tell you why in a bit, because it has so many great benefits. Now, even though this was number 3 on our list, if we couple that with number 1 and number 2, you will actually have a force to reckon with in your wallet. So if you have number 1, 2, and 3 in your wallet, you are set. So that's all I'm going to say for that. And now let's dive right into the types of benefits that number 3 will provide to you. So the first thing is you actually get 60,000 points or $600 when you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months. The second thing is you actually get $1,000 in partner benefits, which is insane to me. So the first thing is you actually get DoorDash benefits. So essentially you will not have to pay anything for DoorDash Plus. That will all be covered by this card. So you actually get this benefit for a total of 3 years. So it's $120 per year, essentially that what it would cost you, and you get that all for free just by getting this card. The other great thing is that you also get priority membership to a lot of the lounges that are out there in every airport. So essentially you'll get access to over 1,300 VIP lounges, which has a lot of great things in there. There's sofas in there, there's food. You're gonna have a great time at all these lounges. And that's effectively $500 roughly a year that you would need to pay to even access these puppies. So yeah, so the third benefit is at the edit, which is essentially a credit that you get for eating breakfast. So it's $100 off of breakfast for any type of lounge that's out there or at hotels and things like that. So definitely another great thing. And if you're an exercise buff, you can actually get 10x points on any Peloton purchases. So if you're ready to pedal or use the treadmill, then that is another great benefit of using this card. So the benefits don't even stop there. We're only the tip of the iceberg. The next thing is you actually get $300 travel credit every year, and this is on hotels and flights as well. And you also get access to having TSA credits as well. So essentially, usually TSA costs $120 a year. You want to actually get that waived as well by using this card. Now, I will say this card does have a $550 annual fee membership, but the amount of benefits that you get from this card are just astronomical and definitely worth the money. Now, to go into the $550 annual fee, there are a lot of credits that actually reduce this $550 annual fee. The first thing is you get the $300 travel credit, as I mentioned. So that brings us down to $250 in terms of the annual fee. Also, you get the TSA credits, which is $120. So that effectively brings us down to $130. And then you also get the DoorDash benefits, which is another $120. So essentially your annual fee is like $10 after you factor in all of those different benefits that you get annually just from having the card. So definitely overall a great card to have, and definitely one I would have in my wallet. This next entry brings the boom to credit cards. And the reason for that is because we're going to be talking about the Costco Visa credit card. So this is actually one of my favorite cards out there on the market currently because it has a plethora of benefits. The first thing is you actually get 5% cash back on gas at Costco stations. So it's probably one of the highest cash back of any card on gas. The other thing is if you don't happen to have a Costco gas station nearby, you can actually still get 4% on other gas and electric EV charges. So I will preface and say this, that it is capped at $7,000 per year, but in most cases, hopefully you're not spending that much on gas and EV charges. The next cashback category is actually on restaurants and travel purchases worldwide. So it's actually 3% on this puppy. And overall, it's great. You can actually, get a great amount of cash back on this puppy. The next thing is you actually get 2% cash back if you decide to actually use this card at Costco and Costco.com. So essentially, if you have, let's say, the executive membership, which is the black card at Costco, you actually get 2% from the black card, and you get another 2% from this. So essentially, you're getting 4% if you combo these. So overall, great card overall, especially even if you don't spend on any of these categories, you'll still get that whopping 1%. So I know it's not the best, but as long as you hit the other categories, you'll be getting a lot of cash back at the end of the year. The other thing about this card is actually, if you decide to travel with this card, it has no foreign transaction fees. So that'll save you another 3% on those pesky fees. Finally, you will need to get a Costco membership to get this card. This card is very exclusive, only for Costco members. So that's why, overall, having a Costco, not only having a Costco membership, but having the card comboed together makes the perfect harmony overall. And finally, the cash credit that you get at the end of the year can be redeemed at any Costco location, and you could actually use it against your annual membership. You could use it as cash back. Whatever you want, you can have it any way you want. So we've made it to the end. So who's the cream of the crop of our top 10 list? Well, in my eyes, it's the Citi Double Cash Card. This is to me the shining star out there in the credit card industry and my favorite card overall. So let's dive right into the benefits that this puppy provides. The first thing is you get 2% cash back on all purchases. So the way it's broken out is you get 1% immediately and you get 1% once you pay the card back. This is actually one of the highest cash back on all categories across the industry. So essentially I would say this is an amazing card overall because of that. The next thing, you actually get $200 bonus cash as long as you spend $1,500 within the first 6 months. So you effectively have 6 months to spend, this kind of money, but trust me, you'll be spending like crazy with this puppy because of, just of how great the cashback is. The next thing is the annual fee. There is no annual fee on this card, and on top of that, you actually get 0% balance transfers for the first 18 months. Now, you don't get 0% on purchases, but that's okay because most cases, you probably won't be using that. But if you decide to do a balance transfer using this card, just note you will not get cashback rewards on those balance transfers. Now, finally, the last great thing about this card is that you actually will be getting hard cash back throughout you using this puppy. You will actually be able to use this on any statement credits. You could get gift cards. There's a city portal where you can buy anything. It's a lot of great benefits for this card, and it's just kind of like click and shoot. So you just swipe the card and forget about everything else. Not a lot of things to memorize, just swipe and you're done. So that's why I would name this card as our #1 contender as the best card. So that will do it for our top 10 list of the best credit cards that you should have in your wallet. Now, as we dive into this, I will say that this ranking is based on if you could only pick one card. As I mentioned previously, if you could combo these cards, the top 3 cards on this list will be the great combo to have in your wallet. Now, if you don't want to get a Costco membership though, you can actually swap that out for the Saver card. So overall, these are all great cards, all have their own benefits, and are a powerful tool for you to use to get out there and purchase the things you need, as well as the things you want, of course. So that'll wrap it up for us, and I hope you join me next time as we continue to dive into more content about credit cards and other financial matters. Alrighty, everyone. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and adios.
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm wishing everyone out there all the best. All right, until next time, adios.